one other thing I wanted to talk to you about is when it comes to training camp and things to watch this off season. To me, the most important things we're going to learn, even more than potentially the preseason games, are those scrimmages. We have two scrimmages this off season, one against the Dolphins, one against the Bills. What are your thoughts on the scrimmages overall? And even for fans who go to those scrimmages, what should they be
Well, are
looking
they really scrimmages or joint practices?
joint
But you're going to
practices?
have to,
Yeah.
yeah. The You're going to see, you don't like to play in the first preseason game. You don't want to play too many starters. They're going to get their reps in that joint practice.
Yeah.
Will they get some in the game? Of course, but probably not as many as you'd think with the new coaching staff. But you'll see them get a bunch of reps in the joint practices, especially when they're doing 11 on 11.
And the Dolphins have a couple really good pass rushers. They have a guy like Bradley Chubb, and he's a guy who might not play much, if at all, in the preseason action, but during practice, he's going
Different story in practice. You got those guys coming.
reps. And that's a guy you want to see him going against Ozzie Trapillo, and you want to see if Karan Amagaji or Braxton Jones is there. How does he look going against a guy like Bradley Chubb? Has he improved his anchor? That's a guy who will test it right off the bat, and that's something that in the scrimmages you're going to see a lot of that. And that's probably when it comes to Dolphin scrimmage, that's what I'm going to be watching is the trenches, because that's where you're going to see some of these guys, especially on the left tackles, the big job, but then also our defensive line. Who's getting the reps when it comes to these joint practices? Who's getting the first team reps? Who's getting the second team reps? And who's standing out against the Dolphins starting the O-line? And then when you get to the Bills practice, of course, same thing. But the Bills they're an elite team. They're one of the AFC's best. They're a team that's competing with the Joe Burrows and the Patrick Mahomes, the team that has Super Bowl aspirations. So what we're going to see in that practice is hopefully an improved team and hopefully someone who can stand up and doesn't get just whooped up in practice by the Bills.
No, what's interesting too about the Bills is, they got these guys will be in camp, but they signed two free agents, one edge and one defensive tackle, and they didn't give big money, but they were expected to play, and then both of them got hit with 6-game performance enhancing drug suspensions. So because of that, the Bills had to change everything they really wanted to do in the draft, and they've drafted a bunch of defensive linemen now. They took the corner in the first round, but they took one of my favorites, Landon Jackson. They got him in the third round. They got defensive tackle from South Carolina in the second round, and then in the fourth round, they took that monster defensive tackle from Kentucky. I can't think of what his name is.
Deion Walker? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
all guys I liked, man.
Yeah, but those are guys. They had to do that because they're losing those other guys for 6 games.
That's something maybe, but they're still going to be there practicing at the joint practices as well. They're going to have even more talent to test this offensive line, and those are probably the two biggest training camp practices I'm looking forward to. I think those are the ones to watch. Those are ones where we're going to learn the most about this roster more than any other day, and also the padded practices whenever those happen to be.
No question about it.
Awesome. Well, Greg, as always, man, I love talking to you. I appreciate everyone who watches. Stay tuned, guys. Turn on those notifications so you don't miss out. Hit that like button for me, and until next time, bear down.